excited. Those two, I know just from talking to both of them, that they're so excited to live the rest of their lives together.
It would probably be humorous.
Height difference. That's 2 words. Because he's really tall and she's really short. And I think that's going to end up with some complications for their children. Whether they'll be short or tall, we don't know. I got bets on tall, but we'll see.
If I had to use one word to describe Carissa, it would be that she is joyful. And I say that because no matter what circumstance or situation is in front of her, she has a smile on her face.
That word would be boundless, just because Carissa does everything with just so much and so much energy.
If I were to describe Carissa in one word, it would be adventurous. She's always up to have an adventure, and I love that about her.
Well, he's a loving person, so a loving brother, loves Carissa.
Passionate, or kind of like loving, just because like when they're together, like I don't know, I always see them like, I don't know, they're really happy together.
One word that I would use to describe Carissa would be funny, probably. There's so many words I could use, it was hard to choose one.
Enthusiastic. I would say fun, but I think enthusiastic sums it up pretty well.
It'd probably be caring. He's the sort of guy who's always, whenever he sees you, he wants to talk to you and he wants to know how you're doing. And he doesn't really just want good for an answer. He wants to really know how you're doing, and know how you're doing spiritually, emotionally, physically, everything.
Both of them are just so happy all the time, and even happier when they're together.
They're so funny because they have like 2 parts to them. They're either really playful or like very deep. So walking in on them hanging out in our room, they either are like building a fort and eating snacks in the middle of the room under like all these blankets, or they're like reading the Bible.
Whenever I see them, they're usually with other people and in groups, and they're just, I mean, the fun that they have together flows over into whatever group they're with.
Both are really good at remembering details about past conversations, and it's not just, okay, tell me where you're at. It's, okay, last time we talked, this is what you kind of brought up. How's that been since then?
Growing up with you, and then once you even moved and we were sending letters back and forth, I could always tell how much you really loved me, and you loved God incredibly much. You loved your family, and now you're going to get to love Travis for your entire life, and I know your marriage is going to be awesome because of that.
You can tell that she means what she says and what she does with the most sincerity possible, and I really appreciate that about her.
I find that I have a hard time talking to a lot of people about anything really, but I never have that problem with Carissa, and it's great, and I love it. And that's my favorite thing about Carissa.
One of my favorite things about her is her deep laugh. I love it when she starts laughing at the way she's laughing, and then she just can't stop. It's great.
And when she receives a present from Travis, it's the cutest thing because she kind of tucks her chin and she like gets really red. And she's like, oh, like that.
And I also love that he pushes me to be more like Christ, and that even though he's younger than me, he teaches me and he disciples me, and I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, some of them I don't think I can share on tape, but...
The first memory that really sticks out about Travis was actually a pretty good one. It was in this room actually, 2.5 years ago. It was before I really knew him. It was probably a week or 2 into the term, and I came down and we were talking, and long story short, just for kicks, he ended up tasing me because I had never been tased and I wanted to know how it felt. So, and that kind of was like the kickstart of our friendship, and that's literally the first memory I have of Travis. So I feel like that's a pretty good way to start any relationship, you know, with a little bit of pain and suffering.
I'm a history major and I took Roman history with her, and she aced the class, and I think I barely scraped by with like a C. It was a really, really tough class, and it was so fun to watch her school me, even though she wasn't a history major, and she did way better than I did.
They went tandem bike riding a lot at first, and she would like come back and be like, oh, it was so awesome and great. And then later on, she would kind of like let on that it like was a really difficult ride because his legs were so long that he would pedal so much faster than her, and she would have to like...
But like before Travis and I even talked about her and him liking her, I just kind of saw them and I was like, that would work.
When I first saw Carissa, I actually didn't even talk to her. It was at an Antioch Charis event, and I saw Travis go over and talk to this girl. And I was like, this is interesting. Travis doesn't normally just like go and talk to girls. I mean, sometimes he did, I guess, but it just seemed seemed different.
I was about to do something that I was really nervous for, and they were about to leave on a date, and they were all dressed up, and I was sitting on the couch in our room, and they both kind of turned around right before they left and said, "Can we pray for you?" And came back and took like 10 minutes to pray for me and make sure I felt supportive before they went off and did their thing. And it meant so much to me.
A few weeks ago, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had been doing house stuff, and then Travis went to go call Carissa, and I was like, it's 1 in the morning. He's like, oh, we pray every night leading up to our marriage, and we have for the past month or so. And I realized that they have prayed together every single night, whether in person or on the phone, regardless of the time. So he called her at 1 in the morning and woke her up to pray with her, just, a few minutes of prayer. And I thought that was so cool about them.
I was road tripping with Travis this past spring break, Mount St. Helens. He was trying to call Carissa one night to pray with her. We didn't have cell service though, so we drove down the road trying to get cell service for like 45 minutes. And I just remember him trying to call her. They talked for a little bit, they get cut off, he'd call her again, try to pray with her. He tried so hard just to pray with Carissa for 5 minutes, and I thought, this is what I want someday. I respect that so much.
One of my favorite memories of Carissa is when we were about in the 7th or 8th grade when we first became friends. She would come over to my family's farm, and we would get on the four-wheelers and the gators and roar through the muddy fields and chase the sheep, and we would just get covered from head to toe in mud. And I've never had a friend like that would just have so much fun like that.
So I would say Travis describes and talks about Carissa in ways, I guess, that make it very clear that she is the girl that he loves the most, and there's nothing else that he would change about her or likes differently, or nobody else will compare to her.
She always giggles and laughs when she talks about Travis and just gets so excited, and she's always her respect for Travis really comes across. She always is just but I really trust him, and I'm so excited for him to lead me and lead our family, and just is always saying great things about the man that he is and the person that he is and how lucky she is. And
when Carissa talks about Travis, she gets really focused about it, and she stops doing everything else she's doing. She just focuses on what she's talking about, which is Travis.
And one thing that I very specifically remember him telling me was that she looked beautiful in purple. That just stands out.
Whenever she talks about him to me, I can just tell from the gleam in her eye and her big smile that she is really, really in love.
I remember when they were first dating, I asked him how things were going, and his face just lit up, and I could tell how happy he was. And that's a good question, because that happens to be my area of expertise. And I would say, go ask somebody else.
Don't get in too many fights, but fights are good sometimes.
They should not be afraid to spend money on dates, because that's what you'll remember the most.
Moving from dating and being engaged to marriage, they still need to continue putting God first, which they've done extremely well. But then, beyond just that, I'd say be very patient with each other and never stop having fun.
Keep seeking the Lord like you have been throughout your engagement and all of your relationship. I've been inspired by the way that you two have done Bible studies together, and have always prayed together and really sought the Lord's will for your lives.
Our relationship with God isn't always super tangible, and it's versus a relationship with another person is obviously very tangible. And so it's so much easier to put that relationship first. And it kind of seems more natural to put that relationship first. So just remembering to always keep your relationship with God first and allow that relationship to then overflow into their relationship with each other.
Never go to bed being hurt or upset. Make sure you work your fights out. Even if it's 2 or 3 in the morning and you're fighting or arguing, continue to work those issues out and to iron those issues out. It's so, so important.
I approve this marriage.